Hi everybody, my name is Leela. You can find me at leelameinke.com, and it is new mini catalog time. January to April 2025, new Stampin' Up! Mini catalog. I have a sampler kit available, and I have a video below where you can see all the ingredients that come in that sampler kit. This is one of the cards that you get as part of that. I love for people to just get their hands working with all the new stuff. This is new Happy Hibiscus online exclusive product. I also love to teach people how to do things. So in the kit, I've already cut all the ingredients. I've cut, I've embossed, I've die cut. I'm one of the only demonstrators I know who does this, but I've got all the cuts, all the die cuts, all the embossing. And as part of that offering, I wanted to show people just how do you make this cut. Let's say you love this birthday suite that's coming out and you want to use the birthday suite and maybe use one of the matching colors and do this gatefold cut yourself. So I'm going to go ahead and show you the how-tos for just doing this. If you want all the measurements, if you want all the specifics, you can click the link below. I've got the PDF, I've got the step-by-step measurements, I've got everything below for exactly how to do it, but I'm going to show you the how-to for the cutting and scoring here. You're going to take a piece of 8.5 by 11, and we're going to start on the long side first. Half of 11 is 5.5. So I'm going to go ahead and score at the half-inch mark. At the halfway mark, which is 5.5. I'm going to score so that basically the cardstock is cut in half, right? So, and you can see that here, ultimately this is where we're headed. You can see that it's scored at the halfway mark there. It's true, this card does take a full piece of cardstock. Normally you can get 2 cards out of a piece of cardstock. This one, you can only get 1. Now we're working in the principle of the halfway mark again. So now this is 4 1/4, right? Well, what's half of 4 1/4? You're gonna be 2 1/8 and 2 1/8 to get those 2 little gates. So let's go ahead and score our 2 little gates. How do we get to 2 1/8? I'm just gonna show you pretty quickly on here. This is our 2-inch mark. And then all these little notches up here, those are 16ths, right? So you could go all the way down to 16ths on this. I love that. The way that I figure out where 1/8 is, so I go, that's the halfway mark, that's the 4th, and then between 2 and 2 1/4 is 2 1/8. It's basically 2 notches to the left of the 2-inch mark. By the way, while we're here, I will show you that this ruler also goes on the little, I don't know what this piece is, but it also goes, there's a ruler along this line here, and we are going to be referring to it because at some point we're going to need to make a cut on some of the lines. And so just know that the same measurements are on that side as well. So we've got our 11 cut, scored in half at the 5.5-inch mark. Now I'm going to go to the 2 1/8. So the way I do it is first I get good and snug so that my paper is nice and snug at the top, nice and just flat and aligned. I'm at the 2-inch, and then I'm going to go over 2 notches to get to 2 1/8. So then I'm going to go ahead and use, you guys, I lost my little gray blade that goes inside of here. So you can use a bone folder, you can use this tool that goes with the scoreboard, which honestly, this is my tool of choice, but not everybody has it, so I use this. You can use anything, but we've gone ahead and we've scored it at 2 1/8. Now we want to do 2 1/8 on the other side. So we're going to flip it this way so that I'm doing the 2 1/8 score marks both on this half of the piece of paper. So same thing, I'm going to get it good and justified. I'm going to go to 2. I'm going to go over 2 notches. I'm going to go to 2 1/8. and I'm going to do a score only down to the halfway mark. So you can see I've got my halfway that way. I've got my 2 1/8. I've got my 2 1/8. And basically that has just given me exactly this experience. We'll do all our burnishing later. Now we want to get this part. So we're going to have to do some cutting. So I'm going to turn the paper over to where there's no score marks. The score marks are now going to be on the bottom. And we basically need to cut away the flaps. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to put my scoring tool down, way down, and dropped on the floor. If Wrigley were here, he'd come in and grab it, my little Labradoodle. Okay, so I'm at 2, and I'm going to go over 2 notches. I'm going to go to 2 1/8. I'm going to put my cutting blade at the top so that I start at the top, and I'm going to go all the way down to the 5 1/2 inch mark. But I'm going to go further than the 5 1/2 inch mark. I want to go just another 1/8 down. So once I get to 5 1/2, I'm just going to go 2 more notches, and I'm going to go to 5 1/2 is 5 4/8. So add 1 more 1/8. I'm going to go down to 5 5/8. So you can see that here. I've cut, and I've cut just beyond a little bit. And you can see why we would do that here, because, or you can see that we've done that here, right? You can see just that tiny little extra cut. And honestly, that's just going to help this open and close that much further. If you had that much more paper up there, the fold wouldn't go over as nicely. So we're doing that so we can just get a nice good fold. So we've done it on the one side. Now we're going to come over and do it on the other side. So I'm going to get it all good and flat across the top. I'm going to go to the 2 inch mark, and then I'm going to go over 2 notches. I'm going to go to the 2 1/8. I'm going to come all the way down. I'm going to go to 5 1/2, and then I'm going to go another 2 notches. So I'm going to go to actually 5 5/8. And now I'm ready to get my little flaps removed. Now, if we know that we went down to the 5 5/8 inch mark, then we can remember that as we go over here. I mean, everything's documented for you too, but we can understand the logic of going to 5 5/8 over here. So I'm going to go to 5 1/2, and then I'm going to count 1, 2. So now I'm at 5 5/8. Now I'm going to cut over here, and I'm going to go start at the top, and I'm going to go down to the 2 1/8 inch. But go slowly, and you can feel it. So if I go slowly, right as I get close to the end, just wait for it. You can, like, it gets stuck a little bit, and you can feel that. Just stop. That's the point. That's the point. When you start to feel a little bit of resistance, kind of just like in life, you feel a little resistance, just slow. So we've done that side. Now we're going to go to the 5 1/2, and we're going to add 2 notches, and then we're going to close, and we're going to put our blade at the top, and we're going to go down, and we're going to go pretty smooth glide down to the 2 inch mark, and then we're going to go slow, and then we feel it. That's it. If for some reason you don't feel it, if for some reason like you think you've got it but you don't, you're either just going to be a little bit too shy, and if it's not, I don't recommend like tearing out the corner, because if you do that, you're going to get a funky little edge right there. I've done it where I haven't cut far enough, and then I pull it thinking, oh, I'll just be smart, I'll just pull it, and then I've got a weird little tear mark. So you really want to take the patience, and you want to come over here, and you just want to snip it that way. On the flip side, if you go a little too far in with your cut line, it's not going to matter, because when you burnish and when you score it, it's going to be fine, and it's going to really have that paper memory. If it's too far in, well, you might need to do it over, and it's okay. It's just paper. Then you just use it for scrap paper, and you just learn, like, okay, next time, you know, it's kind of a feel thing, so you'll kind of get the feel as you go along. So now we're just going to burnish everywhere. And I like to burnish both ways. I really like to get the paper good, and I want to get the paper memory right. I want to get the paper, oh, there's a word, I can't remember it. But anyway, I just want to get the fold good and folded. So I'm burnishing both sides, and then I'm going to come over here and the same thing. I'm using the tip of the bone folder and not this end, because if I use this end, the ink's going to come off, and it's going to come off on my paper, and I don't want that. So I'm going to use the tip end, and I'm going to do that on both sides. Then I'm going to come over here and use the tip end. I'm going to do it on both sides. And then I do one final sweep through the whole thing. Once I've got it all good and burnished, I'm just going to give a good sideways, like, press of the whole thing all along. And then that's it, you guys. I have my nice fold. It's perfect. And so if you want to see the ingredients, if you want to see the measurements, if you actually want to get your little hands on exactly these die cuts and fold so that you can see it in action for yourself before you try the cutting, please see my links below. And thanks for joining. Bye-bye.